Joining us here in the studio today, and we're going to visit with a little bit. We're going to visit today with Dr. Jack Bowman, who is the founder and artistic director of a new program. It's the Garvin County Choral Society and Sinfonietta, and we're going to find out what that's all about with Jack and talk to him a little bit. Jack is the Director of Music and organist at First Presbyterian Church of Pauls Valley, and he has a ton of experience in teaching and conducting, and he's going to tell us about this great new program that's available for residents in the Garvin County area. A University of Michigan Wolverine as well, correct?
I am, but I actually grew up in Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Which is a great competition between Michigan and Ohio. So when I left Ohio and went to Michigan, I had to keep real quiet about where I was from.
That's probably something that would cost you some friends and relatives, probably.
Absolutely.
In that part of the country.
Don't tell them anything.
Right. Well, thanks for being here. It's good to meet you, Jack.
Good to meet you, Jason.
We're going to talk about what you're doing here in the Garvin County area with the Choral Society in just a few minutes, but we want to find out a little bit about you because you've led an interesting life and done some pretty and impressive things musically throughout your life. So let's talk a little bit about your beginnings. You're originally from what part of Ohio?
Central Ohio. I was 20 miles from Ohio State.
Okay.
So we always thought Woody Hayes and the Ohio State football team was, God and country.
Right.
But I grew up there. My parents were teachers, so I was in education. Went to the University of Michigan and got my master's and doctorate there. Mm-hmm. And then have spent a career in higher education and churches and conducting. So I really have done kind of three things. My first job has always been in education as a professor and also largely an administrator of fine arts programs. Mm-hmm. So I was dean of fine arts for a while at Cameron University in Lawton.
Okay.
That gave me an introduction to Oklahoma.
Right.
But I went from here to Illinois for a while, South Carolina. I came back to Minnesota as the dean of fine arts at the University of Minnesota. Great university. And then I left there and went to Istanbul, Turkey. Mm-hmm. And I taught at a university, large private university in downtown Istanbul. And was there for 3 years, and greatest place in the world. Just a culture so different from what we are accustomed to in this country.
Right.
I left Istanbul when the war was getting a little too dangerous, and I came back to Connecticut, where I took a church job. And then a year ago when COVID hit, I lost my orchestra that I had started, and the church closed down, and I'm basically unemployed. Right. So I came back to Oklahoma City, where I have a son and family, and so it was nice to be near them. Mm-hmm. And now I've been at Pauls Valley doing the music there for since last November. So welcome back to
yeah.
Feels like coming home.
Right back here in Oklahoma. So music has taken you all over the world, Jack. So where did that start? What's your beginnings, and how did you get into to music, and where did you first find your love for it?
I'm not sure how I got into music because there was nobody in my family that was musical. Mm-hmm. But in the fourth grade, excuse me, the band director came around and said, "We're looking for people to join the band." And I said, I raised my hand and said, I want to join the band. I want to play trumpet. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, but you have big teeth, so you need to play something else. So I went home, and my parents said, well, Uncle Ralph has an old metal clarinet in the attic, and so you can have Uncle Ralph's old metal clarinet. Mm-hmm. So I started on clarinet and fell in love with it and started taking lessons, and they needed help in the percussion section, and I played a lot of different instruments. And finally, I was in a church choir, and I liked to turn pages for the organist. And one Sunday morning, he was playing this huge postlude, and he leaned over as I was turning pages, and he said, "And someday you're going to be a minister of music." And I said, "Excuse me, hell no." And I, of course, ended up doing church music all my life also. So university jobs, church music. But the other thing I've done a lot of is guest conducting as an orchestra conductor.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in Lawton, I conducted the Lawton Philharmonic for 14 years. But during that time, I liked to bring guests from other places, particularly Europe, to guest conduct. So I made friends in France and Germany and Austria and Italy and England, and we would bring those guest conductors to conduct, and that gave me an opportunity to conduct in those places. So I built collaborations with these different conductors and organizations.
Right.
And so I have continued that goal of taking our people and giving them an opportunity to work with people from other places in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this Garvin County Choral Society that we're developing, our first concert, we've invited people from Connecticut to come and join with us. And then in the spring, we're doing Mozart's Requiem, mm-hmm. and we've got a partnership with the Charpentier Choir in Paris, France. And that choir has 150 members.
Wow.
And I've done a couple collaborations with them, and they usually bring about 70 singers. So we expect 70 French people to come and participate in that concert next April.
Nice.
And it'll be the Mozart Requiem, which is, we think, kind of appropriate because so many people have lost relatives, friends, family in the COVID pandemic, mm-hmm. and they've really not had an opportunity to mourn and to grieve the loss of these special people.
Right.
So the Mozart Requiem is all about death, and we think that'll be a great opportunity for the region to come together and give people a chance to hear one of the great pieces of music.
Sure.
But also with a special meaning for us at this time of year.
Right. We're talking to Jack Bowman, who is the director of music and also the organist at First Presbyterian Church of Pauls Valley, and he's the founder and artistic director of the Garvin County Choral Society and Sinfonietta, which we're talking about with Jack here. How did this originally come to be, Jack? Was this all your idea, or how did this all get started?
I'd like to give credit to other people who came to me after I arrived and kept giving me ideas of things we could do. Mm-hmm. And I think Steve Freeman may be the first person that came to me and said, "Jack, why don't we do major oratorios? We could have a choral society here." Mm-hmm. And then other people gave me that same kind of suggestion. So we decided, yes, okay, Garvin County Choral Society, but oratorios are always accompanied by an orchestra.
Right.
So rather than just having an orchestra, you really need a chamber orchestra, mm-hmm. a smaller orchestra. And the best word I could come up with for small orchestra is sinfonietta. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I like that word is, it means small orchestra or
right.
small symphony. But it's also one of those words that people don't know, and they stumble over it, and they'll go, well, now this is the sinfon, and they don't know what to say.
Right.
And that gives me a foot in the door to say, let me explain to you what this is, and you'll go home tonight and you'll remember Sinfonietta.
That's right. But it looks classy on the page, too.
Of course.
It makes things much fancier.
Well, we're trying to be a classy organization, but we want to serve everybody. And we're particularly interested in youth and young people. Mm-hmm. The public schools in Pauls Valley want to have a choir, and they've not had a choir in the school for a while.
Right.
So we're working with the superintendent to find a way to start a choir there and have some of the best high school kids also sing in the Garvin County Choral Society.
Right. You're going to be starting up rehearsals sometime in the fall?
We'll start on the second Sunday in September, which is September 12. I wanted to skip Labor Day weekend.
Right.
But we'll rehearse Sunday afternoons at 1:30 at the First Presbyterian Church. I should give them a word of thanks and credit that they've allowed us to use their space on a pro bono basis to rehearse and to perform.
Right.
We'll also perform in other venues. There's some really creative spots in this Garvin County where we hope to roll out some ideas soon.
Okay. And looking at performing, first performance sometime later in the fall as well?
First performance, our inaugural concert, will be on Sunday, November 14th at 3 o'clock at First Presbyterian Church, Pauls Valley. And we're doing the the Handel Messiah, which is probably the most famous oratorio ever written.
Right.
Everybody recognizes parts of the Messiah. Probably the most famous is the Hallelujah Chorus, where King George apparently stood up in the middle of it, and no one quite knows why he stood up, but he did. And of course, when the king stood up, everybody stood up. And so that tradition continues today. When we start the Hallelujah Chorus, which is actually the end of the section we're doing, my guess is that the audience will just pop onto their feet.
Sure. Yeah, they almost have to, right?
Yeah.
So I know that there's a lot of talented folks from churches and choir groups and even young people and we have here at Lindsay High School chorus vocal groups are always out of this world, and they have a fantastic teacher in Mr. Jess Young over there as well. So we're talking about anybody that wants to participate in some fashion, they're more than welcome to come. Are there tryouts or anything like that?
There are no auditions.
Okay.
If you want to sing, you let us know. We have a website, garvincounty.webley.com.
Okay.
Let me do that again. garvincounty.webley.com.
Okay.
And you can go on there and sign up. No audition is required. We ask members that are older than high school to pay a small participation fee that helps us buy the music and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But high school kids, we won't charge them anything.
Okay. And you said September 12th? That's this first scheduled rehearsal?
September 12th.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it's going to be fascinating and a great opportunity for people who are interested in this, not only in participating in the choral group, Jack, but also for people to gain a appreciation for classical music and for this kind of music, to be able to see it with people from the community and also from the people like you mentioned that you're bringing in for these performances. It's a great opportunity that we don't have a lot of anymore, really.
One of the reasons that we think this is so exciting for the area is that most churches in this area have relatively small choirs. You may have a church with 3, 4, 5, 10, singers, and choirs of that size really can't do large oratorios.
Right.
You need a large chorus. And so by partnering with churches across the region, across the county, it gives us a chance to have a larger chorus and to give people a chance to sing music that they can't normally sing.
Right. Well, it's been great to get to meet you, and we appreciate you coming over to tell us more about the Garvin County Choral Society and Sinfonietta inaugural season 2021, beginning in the fall. And what's that website one more time for anybody?
GarvinCountySings.webley.com.
Okay. Well, we'll keep helping to spread the word for those that would like to get involved. Is there any kind of deadline before that first rehearsal for people to sign up?
Nope. We'll take them right up to the day.
Okay.
And if they come in a little bit late, a week or two, we'll still welcome them with open arms.
All right.
This is our startup, of course, and you have no idea you're out recruiting.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, hey.
So, Jason, you sound like you have a good tenor voice. We could use you.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know. I may have to brush up on my singing to be able to do that. But
well, it's in English, so that's a good start. Right?
Okay. Well, that's good. None of it's in any different kind of language.
The Mozart Requiem is in Latin.
In Latin. Okay. Well, I would definitely have to brush up on my Latin.
Latin's very easy to sing.
How many different languages do you speak, Jack, since you've been around the world as much as you have with your music?
My first language, of course, is English.
Mm-hmm.
My second language is French. My third language is German. My fourth language is Turkish. Those are my primary languages.
Wow, that's a few. I guess if you spend that much time in different countries, you kind of have to pick up a little bit along the way, right?
My favorite was conducting in Russia,
mm-hmm.
And I don't speak any Russian, so I was trying to use a little German, thinking maybe that's close.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few minutes, somebody in the orchestra said, "Just speak English. We know what you mean." But I had a blessing in life was to conduct the National Ballet of Russia
mm-hmm.
in several of Tchaikovsky's famous storybook ballets.
Mm-hmm.
Conducted those in Russia.
Wow.
But my real claim to fame,
mm-hmm.
I think I'm probably the only one in the area that won a blue ribbon for cow roping in the Jackson Hole, Wyoming rodeo.
That's probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah?
How did that happen?
A blue ribbon for cow roping.
And what age were you when you did that?
Oh, 35.
How did you wind up in Wyoming doing that?
Well, my late wife was from Jackson, Wyoming, and so we would go spend, a week or so once in a while. And one night, her brother said, "Come on, we're going to the rodeo."
Mm-hmm.
So we were in the stadium, and her brothers were going to be doing cow roping.
Right.
Well, it takes 3 people when you do cow roping. One person rides the horse and ropes the cow.
Mm-hmm.
The second person flips the cow over and pulls the feet together. And the third person takes the rope and ties the feet.
Right.
And then when you finish that, you throw your hands up in the air, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their third person didn't show up.
Oh, no.
And so they called me out of the stadium and said, "Brother Jack, come on down here, and you're the rope man." I said, I don't know what to do. And they said, "It's easy. When this brother gets the cow legs together,
mm-hmm.
you rope them and throw your arms up in the air." Well, I moved as fast as I could. And we got blue ribbons for that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one.
Now, see, you're qualified to live in Oklahoma since you've done that
before. I've roped cows.
Yeah, that's good enough. That's about all you need. Well, hey, it's been good to meet you and talk to you about the Garvin County Choral Society and Sinfonietta. Again, the first rehearsals on September the 12th will be at the First Presbyterian Church, which is where Jack is the minister of music. 1:30 in the afternoon. How long have you been at First Presbyterian now?
I started November 1st last year.
Okay, and you play the organ there on Sundays?
I do.
Excellent. Well, this sounds fantastic. Again, for anybody who would like to be a part of it, and also for anybody who would like to be at some of these performances, which will be coming up. First one in the fall of this year, and then a couple more in 2022. So, good to have you here with us, and good luck with the inaugural season, Jack.
Thank you so much, and appreciate meeting you.
Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to maybe we'll talk to you again before you guys get ready to do this. And check out more about it on the website. Jack Bowman has been our guest here today.